Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'll be interviewing and having a chat with the lovely Robyn from Robyn Soap House in Melbourne, Victoria. Hi Robyn, how are you going?
Hi, how are you, George?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you.
You'll be the second person on the Soap Makers Lounge, as I like to call it. The first person was Catherine from Coconut Lux last couple of weeks ago. Now we've got the fabulous Robyn from the Robyn Soap House. It's just the reason why I created this particular playlist is because I just want soap makers in Australia, whether it's hobbyists or businesses, to actually just come together and have a chat. And it's a great way for networking. And I don't think that in Australia we have a very large soap making community. So I just thought this would be a really good idea for soap makers to come together and watch each other and inspire each other and learn from one another.
Fantastic, George. You're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you. And also, whereabouts are you located in Melbourne?
Okay, so we're in Parkhurst Drive in Knoxfield, not far from Ferntree Gully, just off Burwood Highway. We used to make soap from home in Donvale for 10 years. Yeah. And the house became like a factory. Yeah. And we put on a 7-square garage. And after 6 years, that was sort of bulging at the seams. Yeah. And we had Kennard storage and we had to move. So when my youngest son said, "Mum, you need a factory," because at the moment the house is a factory, that night I found a factory on the internet. Yeah. And we saw it the next day with the real estate agent. Next day we saw the bank manager, and the next day it was ours or the bank's. And we've been here for 7 years, and everything's under one roof. We have a house back, and we just love it.
Oh wow, that's like a dream. That's like a soap maker's dream, really. That's like. It's such a oh wow, like I can only imagine, like in my head, that's actually a dream of mine. And also, like I always picture, I'll have like a little factory and I'll live at the same premises and stuff. So it's amazing that you've managed to do that for yourself. And
we've been working hard 7 days a week.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yes.
13 farmers markets a month for 16 years.
Wow.
We don't
wow.
anymore. Yeah.
Wow, that's just fascinating. That's just amazing. Well, I'll be sure to pop in. I know lockdown's happening in Victoria, and I've been wanting to visit. But next time I'm in Victoria, I would love to drop by and just walk through the factory and have a look. It'll be just amazing to see. I think it's any soap maker's dream to kind of see like a handmade factory that's locally made, like local, and to just walk through and just to go on the journey with you, and it's just amazing. And I guess because I can't be there right now, this would be the next best thing. So since you've mentioned it, that you've got a factory, I would love for you to just walk us around if that's possible.
Yeah, sure. So these are the oils. So the raw materials section of the factory. Wow. So we've got the sustainable segregated palm oil. We've got the coconut oil. We've got our forklift, and we've got here 1,000-litre containers that are normally full of olive oil. Oh, wow. We need to get some more because there's only 1,000 litres there. Right. As I come through, these bottles here have been decanted from the 1,000 litres. Okay, right. Containers. Yeah. And the section I'm walking across to now is soaps that we have made, and we've trimmed them and we have labelled them, and they're ready for sale. So there's here. We make over 100 different types of soaps. Yeah. And when we're doing farmers markets, we took them all to the market, and we have that sort of variety because when someone comes into the market and they want a particular soap, they'll find it because we have the range. Right. Yeah. They're not going to come in and see 5 soaps and walk away. Yeah. They're going to stay a while, chat to us, and end up buying what they want. Yeah. And this section here these are our drying racks. Wow. So we've got 18 drying racks that hold 1,000 soaps per tower. Wow. You can have 18,000 soaps at any one time.
Wow.
So to give you an idea, this one is saffron lemon swirl. This one here is a special order for someone for little guest soaps.
Yeah.
That's Lang Ylang and Lime.
Oh, beautiful.
This one is lychee and red tea, little guest soaps someone wants, and so on. And this one here is chai spice, which we made for Christmas one year, many years ago, for the farmers market. And we thought we'd just make one big batch of 200. Yeah. And when we finished it, people kept asking for it, so it's still going. This one's rose geranium with a nice smell through it.
Love rose geranium. Yeah.
And this one here is really pretty. It's one of our biggest sellers. It's lemongrass, lemon myrtle with calendula flowers that we've actually grown and dried and put in.
Wow.
So that always looks pretty, very pretty, and smells good.
Yeah, I can imagine. I love lemon myrtle. It's one of my favourite essential oils.
Yeah. This one here is a gardener soap, and this has got coffee grains through it.
Oh, yeah.
Exfoliating. Yeah. Eucalyptus, tea tree, rosemary and peppermint essential oils.
Oh, that sounds like a nice combo.
Great after gardening.
Yeah.
This is an unscented. You'd be surprised how many people want unscented soap.
Yeah, so. I know. I totally get it. Yeah, it's the same with me too. Olive oil unscented are one of the most popular ones.
This one's a spearmint.
Nice. Wow.
And this one here, down here, is Manuka honey.
Right.
And it's bubble wrap on top.
Oh, yeah, to create that. Yeah. Wow, that beehive look. Yeah.
Yeah. And this one is a lavender swirl, and they all look different. Each soap is slightly different.
Yeah.
So with swirls, that's quite popular. I've got into making balls, so that gardener soap that you saw before.
Oh, okay.
What's left over.
Okay. Right.
Balls.
They look like chocolate balls.
And this one is one of our biggest sellers is lychee and red tea. And when I did soap supplies, when their factory burnt down, I thought, oh no, I can't get lychee and red tea again because they're not going to stock Brambleberry anymore.
Yeah.
So I managed to go to Brambleberry in the States online, and I've got it back. So that's really good.
Right. Well, I think they're up and running now, which is good.
They are, but they don't have Brambleberry anymore.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, right.
We also sell our soap in logs. So this is goat's milk and Manuka honey.
Yeah.
And they're very popular. I sell them online for $20 each.
Yeah. Wow. And what would like? I was going to ask that later, but since you're kind of walking me around with the soaps, what's your most difficult batch or recipe of soap that you make that you continue to make, but it's popular, so you kind of keep around?
Yeah,
like in terms of like fast tracing, and it's difficult to work with.
Sandalwood would be one of the most difficult ones because sandalwood gets thick very quickly.
Okay.
So we tend to to counteract that. We tend to use these moulds here.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kendra's getting the lid off for me. So this mould here is on casters because when it's full, it's very heavy.
Yeah.
And then we wrap it in blankets and everything for 48 hours. We can pour then 3 saucepans full of soap mix into these big moulds very quickly, and so it doesn't go as lumpy and air bubbles. We've worked a way of doing it. If we put it into these moulds here, like these log moulds.
Those log moulds, yeah.
Then by the time we poured them all in, you'd have air bubbles that'd be really
yeah.
So we use really big moulds.
Yeah.
Pour in quickly and put the lid on.
Wow. Okay. So that other big slab mold that you showed me. How many soaps would you get out of that when you cut it?
200.
Oh wow.
So I'll take you to our cutting machine.
Yeah.
We're very, very fortunate. Someone at a farmer's market said to us that he loved tinkering in his garage, and if there's anything we ever needed for him to make, let him know, particularly if we ever needed a big cutter.
Wow.
So we directed him to a site in the States where there was a cutter, and he looked at it and said, yeah, I can make something very similar. And off he went and made this great cutting machine for us, and that's what we put the big blocks on.
Wow.
So when it comes down, we put the block on this section here, and we press a button, the cutter comes down and cuts it into logs.
Yeah.
Then we change the cutter to look like this one, and it cuts the logs into bars.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so that'll be a time saver for sure.
Yeah, and it uses this compressor to compress air.
That's
and then when we got lots of orders for liquid soap, this same guy made us a filling machine. So we've just made 500 ml bottles to go to Malaysia, and Penry was able to fill them with this filling machine a little bit quicker than a hand pouring that I often do for all the batches.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. That's so amazing.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we also have a barbecue for putting all our saucepans on. We even got this when we were still working from home, and it sat outside, and we put all our saucepans on, and now we have it in our factory, and we can put, how many saucepans, Penry? 5? 5 saucepans.
Oh, so is that when you're melting down hard oils?
Oils,
yeah.
The hard oils.
Yeah.
And then also for heating up the water for when we're watering down our paste for the liquid soap.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's right. Yes.
And for liquid soap making, we've got 4 slow cookers here. 4 slow cookers.
Yeah.
And that's one batch. And at the same time, we make another batch.
Right.
And we've got 4 slow cookers over here. Right. So we've got 8 slow cookers going in the morning. Stirring every half hour, and our stick blender's no longer.
Oh my god! I'm just so used to the small stick blender.
Pretty amazing.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
And what I also have, could be the envy of a few people, is a commercial grater. So all our excess soap now, after cutting, gets grated up with this machine.
Mm-hmm.
And then we put it into a box, and it goes over to a different area where when I get a few minutes, I roll them into balls.
Oh, wow.
So most of our excess soap now is being rolled into soap balls.
Yeah. That's very innovative.
Yeah.
Oh.
And our normal cutting machine is something I bought from the States for craft's sake.
Oh, yeah.
Last cutting. But, it's one of these that you put the log on and then you just bring it down.
Yeah. Well, that's a time saver too.
Oh, absolutely, because in the early days, I was using a crinkle cutter.
Oh, yeah. I think we all started off that way.
I got a frozen shoulder. So we moved happily to this one here.
Yeah. Excellent.
And another thing, when we moved into the factory, Penry said, I do not want to spend 3 hours every day washing moulds. So we nearly broke the bank to get this wonderful dishwasher.
Wow.
It's not full at the moment because it's Saturday and we're not working, but it's pretty amazing. It washes moulds in 3 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And the saucepans and everything.
So it's just a time-saving thing all around, like the whole factory's a time saver.
Yeah, at least. Yeah. Worth its weight in gold.
Excellent.
So this is really expensive, but the double sink that I needed here, I found on eBay, a suburb away, for $5. I just had to get it plumbed in.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you can find really good bargains. Yeah.
You can when you need them, yeah.
Yeah, when you need them, yeah.
Another thing I bought when we were still working from home was this huge, humongous saucepan.
Yeah.
It holds 40 litres. And I phoned Penry up when I was in the shop and I said, look, I found a saucepan. It's about $300, but I reckon we're going to need it one day. Yeah. He said, well, get it, of course. So I bought it and didn't need it until we moved into the factory. Now we use it all the time.
Yeah.
Non-stop. But if I needed it, I wouldn't have found it.
Yeah, that'll be quite heavy to lift up when it's full.
No, it's on wheels.
Oh, well, yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
We move it around. You're going to make life easy for yourself.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh,
something else that might be the envy of everyone, and I love it, and I often have to pinch myself that I've got it, and that is an essential oil room.
Oh, yes. Yes.
All our essential oils and everything.
Excellent. That's one of my favourite places to go as well.
Yeah. Well, it smells divine.
Yeah. Wow. And so like I just don't know what to say because like it's just like so amazing. It's like wow. And what about like the front of the store, like the retail when people?
We're not allowed to have retail here.
Oh, really?
The council won't let us because we're in an industrial area and there are big trucks coming in and out from factories near us.
Yeah.
It's a bit overwhelming for people to come in and find a big truck outside and they have to try and get in. However, we do a little bit in that we were doing farmers markets for so long and 13 at the time that people have searched us out and they drop in.
Yeah, I see. Right. Yeah.
So I have a little bench over here. I'll show you.
Yeah.
So over here, I have a bench that my carpenter son produced, and along this bench are logs, soaps, creams, liquid soap, essential oils.
Yeah.
So I do have a bit of a range here.
Yeah.
This is my presentation for the soap balls at the moment, having just started making
nice. That's cute.
Yeah. And then I have liquid soaps and laundry powder. So we make laundry powder as well.
Excellent.
And I have a dehydrator where I dehydrate my calendula. So we've got the calendulas are starting to grow now, so I just put them into the dehydrator and dry them, and we use them on our soaps. We do have a bit of a retail coming into this room here through the window.
Yeah.
It looks a bit of a mess at the moment, but sometimes people come into here to choose their soaps. But because of COVID at the moment, it's a small space, so I'm not.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so impressive.
Yeah. And outside, I should show you outside. We had just gum trees outside to begin with, and I've replanted it. And before I go, this is the conference room in here, and it's also where I make my creams and lip balms.
Right.
And when I'm teaching soap making, I've got a whiteboard in here. We've got a table and chairs. 6 to 7 people can be in here.
Yeah.
So we start in here, then we go out to the factory. People watch us make soap, then they make soap themselves. And when they cut it home the next day, they get about 28 baths. And then we have lunch and then do the liquid soap making. So that's pretty popular.
Yeah, wow, excellent.
And outside, we're putting, I don't know whether you can see in the sunlight. Can you see anything? So we've got one olive tree there. A whole lot of
yes, I can see it. Yeah.
A rosemary bush.
Okay.
We've got a kumquat and a mandarin tree. And over here we put in 3 olive trees. There's a lemon verbena, and over here some more fruit trees. And then the factory is sort of.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. And then I have my sign outside so people can see where we are.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, there you go. robynsoaphouse.net. Make sure you head to robynsoaphouse.net and have a browse out this wonderful range that you've just seen now. And I'm sure, like, with such a large range, I'm sure there's something that you would find that you love and that you would really love to use. So head on over to her website for sure. That's excellent. Oh, it's just such a shame that I'm not in the same city.
Yes.
I used to live in Melbourne. I lived in Melbourne for 6 years.
Whereabouts?
It was in Taylor's Lakes.
Oh, okay,
Yeah. Wow, so this would have been like such a cool. I would have because now we're on, now we're doing, virtual meeting. Like I would have done this meeting in person, like if you were in the same city for sure. But yeah, wow, that's excellent.
Yeah.
Wow. Right, so thanks so much, Robyn, for taking us on a tour.
Pleasure.
That was unexpected. I wasn't expecting that, but when you mentioned you had a factory and you wanted to kind of take us around, I thought, oh yes, show us. I'm sure the viewers would love to see the behind the scenes kind of thing with what happens with Robyn Soap House. So thanks very much for that.
You can see what happens when you work hard enough and long enough.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, like when you have a vision and you don't give up on your dream and you just jump at it, and yeah, great. It's excellent. So I guess what I would want to ask is, like, what were you always into soap making? Like when you first started soap making, what made you interested in soap?
Okay, so I was a computer trainer for 15 years.
Oh, wow.
And at the end of that time, I had dry, itchy skin.
Okay.
And I was teaching a class how to trade on eBay, how to buy, sell and everything on eBay. Okay. And one of the students on her computer screen had a thing for soap for dry, itchy skin.
Okay.
I looked at it and I said to the girl, do you mind if I take over your seat? I want to buy this soap for me and I'll show you all how to do it. So I purchased this soap. It actually came from England, so I got it 2 weeks later.
Right.
It actually had emu oil in it that came from Australia to England, got put into soap, and Bunny Me bought it back in Australia. It was about $7 back then, about 18 years ago.
Oh, that's expensive back then, yeah.
It was expensive, and I would have ordered, I suppose, 5 or 6 bars over time. And then I was in the shower one morning when I had a life-changing light bulb moment.
Yeah.
I thought, I wonder if I could make soap.
Yeah.
And as soon as I thought that, I couldn't wait to get out of the shower, look at the ingredients in the label of soap, realising that those ingredients I could buy from the supermarket, so it couldn't be that hard to make it. And then I jumped on the internet and started browsing handmade soap recipes, methodologies. I went to bookshops and bought every book I could find on soap making, and I studied it for a good 2.5 months.
Yeah.
And then I also joined a few soap making forums.
Yeah.
I think there was one main one at that time. It was Soap Naturally. By Marina Tadiello.
Yeah.
And she used to live in Sydney. She's now in Italy. And so it was her group. And then I put it out there that I would really love to watch someone make soap.
Yeah.
And it all went quiet. No one answered me. So I thought, well, I've just got to bite the bullet and make it. So I made a batch, and then the longest time I had to wait was the 4 weeks curing period.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And we tried it, and it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Our skin was so soft and so moisturised. It was the best soap we'd ever used in our whole life.
Yeah.
So I had to make another batch. And my parents, my brothers and sisters, everyone I knew that I had to give Christmas presents to got handmade soap.
Yeah.
Then I made another batch and then another batch. And I said to my husband, I think there's such a thing as a soapaholic. I can't stop making soap. I'm just loving it. And then I had to start teaching again for a term.
Yeah.
And in one of the 8-week courses during the coffee break, I said to the students, I've started making soap. And it was, bring it in. So the computer students ended up being my first customers. And over the months and running these courses, there were a couple of people who were running farmers markets. And they said, come and sell at our farmers market.
Yeah.
So I had 2 under my belt. And then on the strength of doing 2, I approached an organiser who was running lots of farmers markets, and he gave me 5. So I had 7 farmers markets a month, all on my own, making, preparing, going out to the market, selling, and I didn't have time to teach computers anymore. That sort of went by the by.
Yeah.
And then down the track on June, probably 11 years ago, I fell in my garage at 10 o'clock at night and broke my hip.
Oh, God.
And I was lying there in pain thinking, why me, why me? Yeah. But the interesting thing is, the week before, I thought, gee, my husband's competent in making soap now because he started helping me. I thought he could always keep going if anything ever happened.
Yeah.
And the kids wanted to do a farmer's market the week before I broke my hip, and they enjoyed it. So as I was lying there, I thought, well, it could keep going. I just have to get to hospital. So the ambulance arrived. 2 days later, I had a new hip. Yeah. And when I was back in the garage again making soap with my husband, everything multiplied. So we actually went to about 13 farmers markets a month, and we were outputting far more soap, and the business really grew after that. It didn't stop.
Yeah. Well, all hands on deck. So of course. I can just imagine, like, if I had an extra pair of hands, or me and a viewer of mine, we've actually become friends because we chat quite a lot. She made a joke saying, if you can clone yourself and have 3 Georges, then you can make 3 times the amount. I'm like, oh, yeah, of course. I'd love to do that, but
perfect.
Wow. So,
and I can't underestimate the value of farmers markets.
Yeah.
Because you're out at the coalface, you're listening to what people want.
Yeah.
And if they say, oh, I need a soap that's got this in it, you say, well, next month when I'm here, it'll be here. And you go straight back and you make it.
A very good, I never really thought about that before. Yeah, that's actually very good advice. Yeah.
Also at farmers markets, you meet people from all around the world.
Yeah.
And had a huge export job to China about 7 years ago. 10,900 soaps went to China.
Wow, that's great. That's great. So when just like to sometimes, like, I can just imagine, like, I have these moments, so I can just imagine, like, for sure you would have these moments. Do you ever, like, sit down and think, wow, like, I can't believe we're here now? Like,
no, because we've worked hard and been step by step by step.
Yeah.
I have to pinch myself sometimes.
Yeah.
Closing up at night, I look around and think, oh, how lucky. And head home.
I can just imagine, like, of course, it would be hard work, but at the same time, it's like, because some people do try this type of industry and doesn't work out for them. So, and it's like, like, you do have to kind of like, oh, well, like, am I really here? Like, has this really happened? Like, it's just, wow.
Yeah,
like,
it's not without hard work, and my kids had a home at that point. Yeah. And so we were really in a good space to be able to buy the factory and do what we have to do. And the grandkids now are coming and helping for pocket money. They're at uni and what have you, and they love to come and do some work.
Yeah, that's so it would have been so cool if I had, like, grandparents that had a soap factory.
Yes.
I was like, I probably would have just worked there full time, like,
Yeah.
Wow. And okay, well, I was going to actually ask, what, you made your first soap and what drove you into selling, but then you kind of answered that by saying that, everyone loved your soap and you went to farmers market and you started selling. So I guess you kind of covered that. So how
the website is amazing.
So
the website works really well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, just of course. Yeah. And obviously, so do you have stockers or do you just sell direct? Like,
I have a few.
Yeah.
The only stockers that I have are those that have approached me.
Okay.
And it's easy to merchandise to them. So there's a big store only 5 minutes away from here.
Yeah.
And I have a huge long shelf with a good supply of soaps in there. Okay. And I go in once a week and refill.
Okay.
And that works really well for me. Right. There's another store closer to town that I go to, and they would be buying about $1,300 of soap about once every 1.5 months.
Yeah.
So
wow.
They're selling well.
Yeah.
There's a Go Fighter store and a few very small shops that really don't turn over much, just one box.
That's still not every little bit, everything adds up. Yeah. Like, it's about getting your name out there and your personality, because your brand is your personality.
Yeah.
And what are some of and this is one big topic, like, that I really want to ask is, what were the challenges in getting your brand out there and becoming recognised and just growing over time? What were the challenges that you faced when you first started?
It was just knowing that you've got all your systems in place and keep working at it, wearing all the hats, doing the best you can, doing everything yourself. And it doesn't become a challenge. It just organically grows.
Yeah.
So I've been fortunate that we are a suburb not far from town. The demographics are pretty good with a collection of husband and wife and kids, elderly people who have retired, teenagers, you name it. They're all around us.
Yeah.
And just working out at the farmers markets, everything organically grew.
Yeah.
And so long as you don't say no to everyone, and you just think outside the square a little bit, it just keeps growing. But I haven't found anything really a challenge. Perhaps the first few times I was caught without a payment and couldn't get it taught me a big lesson about never letting anything go until it's paid for.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Right.
No matter what the story is.
Yeah.
And because we teach soap making and we sell raw materials to soap makers too, I talk to them a lot. And a lot of them say, I can only afford 1 box of coconut oil this week, but I need more. And I'd say, why is that? Well, I'm being owed $10,000 because no one's paid me yet. And I say, look, you just can't afford to do that. You don't let anything out until it's paid for. It'll stay there until it's paid for. It's still yours.
Yeah.
And they'll say, but I'll lose customers. There are always negative things coming from other people, but haven't ever found it a negative. And if you're going to be selling to someone who's not going to pay you, you may as well be putting that energy into someone who is going to pay you.
That's right, exactly.
So people drop away.
Yeah.
So that's an important lesson.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. And that would hit small businesses harder than like bigger chains or like bigger companies and stuff. Yeah. I can imagine. I've been fortunate enough I haven't faced those issues. The stockists, like the stores that I supply to, have been really, really fantastic. And I think I know, like, my direction. I approach independently owned health food stores, so they're also a small business. I think that's where we kind of we meet each other halfway, and we're not trying to take advantage of each other, and we understand each other, and it's like an unspoken rules kind of thing, like to respect each other. And I think I've been really lucky, but as you said, like, not everyone has that luck. And so.
And while I think of it, there's a huge warning to all other soap makers. If they get an email from someone who wants to buy an enormous amount of product, and then they say, do you accept credit card? And you look at their email address and it's so-and-so at Gmail, know that is a hoax.
Email. Yeah. Oh, yes. I've actually got one recently. Yeah.
And you don't want anything to do with it, just delete it.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just trying to remember the ins and outs of that email. There was a wedding and he wanted to buy 300 soaps or something for all his guests at the wedding, and it was like a substantial amount, like an order, and Gmail, it was a Hotmail email, and he sent me a link which I happened to click on, and I knew it was a hoax, but I was just curious to see what's this link, and it took me to a shipping company that was unsecured. Have the padlock, no SSL security or anything like that. I'm like, oh man, this guy is just, trying to scam me. But yeah, well, it's crazy, yeah. the length some people go to try and scam you out of money or out of product, yeah.
Yeah, so I received one for about 3,000 soaps, and I actually made all the soaps. And then there was an address there, and when I looked it up, there was no such place.
Oh.
And then I actually contacted one of the government bodies, and they said it was a scam by the wording. And when they asked for, do you accept credit card, that's a sure way of knowing they're going to pay by a stolen credit card. And these people come from Nigeria, and they have bogus pickups and
Oh wow!
So luckily, I had heaps of soap for all the farmers markets.
You didn't really have to worry about it, did you?
I was very lucky I didn't let it go.
So I guess what you just covered now, like for other soap businesses and stuff, like to watch out for like non-compliance or non-payment, or people trying to scam them out of product or money. What other advice would you give, soap makers that are just starting out or thinking about kind of starting a business or?
Yeah, so for people wanting to start a business, there are a number of things that they should think about. I did write a bit of a list down here. First of all, educate yourself really well in all aspects of starting a business. Set up an accounting system, have an accountant, keep all your receipts so that even when you think it's going to be a hobby, if it suddenly becomes a business and you've got those receipts, that can be a tax deduction later on when you really earn good money. Know your USP, your unique selling point. You don't want to be like everyone else. You've got to think outside the square and be something different. Look at successful business models. It doesn't matter whether it's another soap maker or a food industry or whatever, but look at their models, especially if they're successful, because you can base some of your business on that model. Like, for example, I looked at the McDonald's model early on and was very impressed that when you buy a hamburger, whether it's in Australia, no matter what state or what country around the world, a Big Mac is a Big Mac and it's always the same.
I see. Right.
And I thought, I've got to make that with my soaps. Once you start something and people like it, never change it.
That's right. Exactly.
If you change it and you don't tell anyone, then they might be disappointed and they may never back.
That's right. Yes. Don't fix what ain't broke, as they say. Don't fix what ain't broke. Continue.
And know your demographics, who you're making your soap.
Wow. Because I was going to touch base on that before. That a lot of my viewers and people that buy from me, they say that you're really brave in sharing your recipes on YouTube and stuff like that. And I'm like, I can see what they mean, but I've been lucky enough, with other soap makers in Australia and overseas that have kind of said, I've tried this or I've tried what you've suggested, and they've shown me pictures of what they've created. They're not out to copy me.
No.
They've put their own unique style in their product and their personality in their product. So that's why I'm really comfortable in sharing my recipes and how I do things. And as you just touched base on that too, find your own, unique style and, what works for you and what works for the demographic you're targeting. So that's...
Yes, people say to me, why are you teaching soap making? You're going to lose all your business. But I would say out of all the students, hundreds and hundreds of students, only about 1%, if that, would go out and start a business. They're more wanting to make it for their family, for their friends, the people at work. They have other commitments, so they're not going to.
Exactly.
And a few that have, I've helped them along, and they're so different to what I do that they're not as great. And because it's a consumable, people use it and want more. It's a bit like bakers and jam makers, and you can't have too many of these people. And I don't believe you can have too many soap makers.
Well, you definitely can't, because I don't. There's a famous soap maker in America. Her name's Carson. She's from Royalty Soaps, and she often buys other soap makers' products and reviews them on her channel. And she's got close to 1 million followers, so she's really well known. She's really well known, and I just have a lot of respect for her because of her mentality. And when she says stuff like, I get these questions all the time. Why are you buying your competitors' soaps and saying they're lovely and they're beautiful and, giving them, your opinion on them? What about if people go and buy that soap instead of your soap, right? And her response to that was, I can't make soap for everyone.
Exactly.
The population's too big. I can't. So I need people to help me make soap,
Yes.
and for everyone to appreciate handmade soap and handmade products and love it, like fall in love with it and buy it. And of course, I encourage to try everyone's soaps, not just mine. And when she came out and said that on her YouTube channel, and of course she's got a really large following on YouTube, that spoke volumes as to what type of person she is. And that just made me fall in love with her even more, because that's just, like, I just had enormous respect for her, like I would love one day, I know me and you were chatting, I'd love to have a chat with Katie Carson, like about, all what we're chatting today.
Yeah.
And it's, like, as you said, like you can teach people to make soap and it's not going to affect you. It's really not going to affect you.
And they're going to do it properly without injuring themselves and just knowing the safety of everything.
Yeah.
And it makes a more enjoyable trip if in one day they can learn all they need to know instead of experimenting and making mistakes and then wasting a lot of money on raw materials and things. And then eventually doing a course. It's much better that they do a course.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Very happy to help.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for that. It's really good advice. I won't keep you too much longer because I know you probably want to get back to your Saturday and, relaxing nice Saturday. And I just wanted to ask, like, just a couple more questions, if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's fine.
I just wanted to ask, like I always ask soap makers, like what their favourite one oil they love working with.
Yeah. So I like working with a lot of olive oils, but the one that I know has the most benefit to people's skin and my own, because I've got people's skin, when it comes to allergies, I can only use 100% olive oil soap, unscented.
Yeah. Okay.
I use it in my hair and everything.
Yeah.
But as far as just making soaps are concerned, what works really well is 50% olive, 25% coconut, and 25% sustainable segregated palm oil.
Yeah. Right.
And that's when the olive oil is so good for the skin. The coconut oil gives it lather.
Yeah.
And the sustainable palm oil gives it a creamy lather and makes the soap last about 2 weeks in the shower instead of 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
It gives it longevity. And some people would prefer not to use palm, and instead they might use shea butter and cocoa butter to take the place.
Yeah. So obviously olive oil, I can relate to the olive oil. It's just one of those oils you can, it's one of my go-tos as well.
Right. It does last a long time in the shower, so long as you keep it. I like the block docs that you can actually put on a tile, on the tiles, and it keeps your soap and your conditioner bars.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, because I know, like, keeping the bar as dry as possible and as ventilated as possible between uses, and obviously away from the splatter of the shower head. Yeah. It does last a while. Yeah, it actually does. Yeah. It should. A good bar of soap should theoretically last 2 weeks with everyday use. Yeah. It should last 2 weeks. Yeah.
I know our stuff.
Yeah. So olive oil is top of the list for your carrier oil. What about like additives? What are your favourite additives to use, like botanicals and certain essential oils and clays and colours, like that sort of things?
We grow a lot of calendula this time of the year, and I'm picking every day and drying it, and then take off the petals and put it in a big jar, so that when we're ready to make using them, they're all there. So a big seller for us is lemon myrtle, lemongrass, and calendula with the calendula on top. That's very popular. Goat's milk's very popular. A lot of people out there wanting unscented goat's milk soap for eczema. Goat's milk soap coming from us will never have a scent in it because you don't want to aggravate the eczema.
Yeah, that's right.
Grandmother might say, "Oh yes, I'll get it for my grandson who's got eczema, but there's got to be a smell," and I've got to tell them no.
Yeah. It's best just to keep it plain. Yeah.
And goat's milk and manuka honey is very popular, and goat's milk and oatmeal.
Wow. Yeah. Great. Yeah. I've read a lot about that. Yeah.
Chilean rose geranium with a pink clay swirled through, pink and purple clay actually, that sells a lot through the stockists.
Yeah.
It's a good thing over there.
That's a really beautiful combination. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a really beautiful combination. Yeah.
There's one fragrance that we use that people just adore, and we're selling on average 8 a day for a long time, and that was lychee red tea.
Okay, rightio.
And it's a brambleberry fragrance.
Yeah.
I like to stick to essential oils, but you've got a lot of customers there who don't care and they want a lovely fragrance. You have to cater for them as well.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah. Like, because when I started Dawn Organics, which is 3 years ago now, I wanted to keep it vegan, but I kind of bent and started playing around in the last 6 months with goat's milk and honey and milk and all that, like vegetarian additives, and they're really popular. Like they've just been, they're really popular. And I have to say, I never used soaps with goat's milk before, but I have been kind of playing around with goat's milk and honey, and it's just fantastic. The soft, like your skin just feels so nourished and soft, and customers have been loving it. So like I could attest to that. Goat's milk, and I've got eczema as well, and I find goat's milk and olive oil are just, and honey as well, top of the list. Top of the list. Yeah, fantastic for eczema and skin issues. All right. Well, thanks so much, Robyn. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. That was really, really good. Be sure, everyone, to head to robynssoaphouse.com.au, and she's got free shipping on soap orders over $100. So be sure to go there and check it out. I'm sure you'll find something that you love. I've been on there and I'm quite impressed. And next time I'm in Victoria or in Melbourne, I definitely will be popping in to say hello and buying a few soaps to have a try. Oh, thank you. Love to see you too. And love to see the factory just be amazing. Like, just be... really cool. I can't wait. So hopefully when lockdown settles and
definitely.
All right, we'll have a fantastic Saturday.
Thank you, George.
We shall chat soon.
Well.
Keep safe, stay well, and send my regards to Penry, your husband.
I'll do.
All righty. Cheers. Thank you.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.